Well, I am really excited today to be able to talk about a subject that I know keeps so many of you mid-market business owners, Vistage members up at night, and that's AI. AI is all over the news. It's been a topic of conversation in my Vistage groups constantly. And so today I'm bringing into you in our meeting today a AI expert, somebody that has been in business for 20 years, founding, building, and selling multiple companies, all in the mid-market space. So, Eric Langley, welcome.
Welcome, David. Great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's exciting. And what really attracted me to the conversation was something that I saw that you had quoted, and that is that mid-market business owners don't have the budgets of Fortune 500 kinds of companies, but they certainly have the need. And when it comes to expertise, how do you get that expertise in terms of knowing what's out there? And so tell me just a little bit about part-time CIO, which is what you do.
Exactly. And yeah, you look at a mid-market company, a typical Vistage member, peer group member, and they have all of the needs and maybe even more of the needs of a larger, let's say, Fortune 1000 company. But really that budget issue becomes a big deal to get the type of caliber of really what is leadership, technology leadership, executive leadership, and a big piece that some people don't necessarily think about with a CIO is the people component, because the technology is used by people. So getting the people on board, understanding where the business is going, and at an affordable price point, because a fractional executive, as like a fractional CFO or COO, comes in on a part-time basis and really leverages that time to move the business forward as quickly as possible.
Makes sense. So we only have a little bit amount of time. So let's dive into AI.
Sure.
So why don't you just kind of ground everybody? What is AI? And what it's first is the headline, right? Then there's the story. So what is the story?
Of course, AI has been around for quite a bit of time now, more than 10 years. You think about Siri and Alexa and those types of things. Amazon poured a lot of money into making Alexa work as an AI tool. And if you look at it now, it seems kind of dated and antiquated compared to the newer generations of AI, like OpenAI's ChatGPT, that seem to just have so much more power. And those are generative, meaning they're creating text, whereas Siri and Alexa simply respond with simple, responses to what we're asking for. So those new tools are really incredible with the amount of language that they've been trained on by people and by AIs as well. So it's gone a long way. Of course, it's taken the world by storm, and we're all going to be dealing with that for the next 10 to 15 years. Just like we were with the internet in the late 90s.
That's what it sounds like. So without getting too technical, how does it work?
Yeah, I mean, basically, you look at the generative AI that is basically text. So we're talking to the system with a chat box, and we ask it questions. And of course, the big thing now is learning how to ask the questions that we want to get the answers for. And the real power in that comes from context. So for instance, when I'm working with the AI in my own practice as a fractional CIO, I tell it I'm a fractional CIO. And then all of the context around that and mid-market companies and that type of thing. And then the output that I get is really geared to that. And of course, it's iterative. So you can go back and forth and even have the AI play devil's advocate to what it's giving you. Well, what is the weakness here? And it can evaluate its own output. And that is really an amazing thing. And it gives a lot of power to somebody that knows how to do that.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's funny for the members the people that are joining us that are not Vistage members. I mean, you can do things that are just amazing. So what are the different types of AI? Are there different kinds, or Is it just one kind of, how do you
Sure, yeah.
categorize it for mid-market business owners?
Sure. Well, AI is now a broad encompassing term for various technologies that are going on behind the scenes. And keep in mind, as business owners or executives, we don't need to know all of how the technology works. I mean, we're looking for applications, like how can we make this technology work in our businesses? What outputs can we use to make a difference? But from a background standpoint, there's, basically like machine learning and deep learning and neural networks. There's a lot of things that are going on in the background that give us outputs. Those outputs are primarily text-based. We get writing or even code in the case of ChatGPT or Google's Bard. Right now, a lot of companies, almost half of their code is being written by AI. Now, it started being written by the developer, but then the AI, like, how you see the type ahead type of thing, and it recommends what to put in for code. So that is really augmented and it really improved productivity. Productivity, I've seen some numbers come out, is expected to go up between 5 and 7% over the next few years. That's a huge productivity gain just from a text system. But there's also images like DALL-E and Stable Diffusion where you can create and edit images, and even video, because if you think about video, it's just a series of images. So, if you want to take a background out of a video, that AI learning network can do that. So there's a lot of power there.
Wow. So you deal with a lot of mid-market business owners in your travels and part-time. How about some examples of things that AI has helped increase that productivity and the efficiency that you've seen? You got any examples that you can, a couple simple ones that you could share?
Sure. Well, I think, it's funny because you have what's called embedded AI, and that's AI that is integrated into a workflow or a business process or even a factory automation system. All those are embedded systems. Those are pretty complex in that you have to design it in and build it and create it. But if you look at what ChatGPT has done with just the simple chat box, a chat box on a business's website or on their intranet, the old-fashioned word for the internal website, is an amazing tool for accessing your own company's information, both for your clients, all the stakeholders really, for clients, customers, internal people, employees. Look at all this information that's typically locked into silos or is difficult to find into web pages. When you build a chat bot that's built on your own information of your company, now customers can just say, how do I sign up for the seminar? And boom, it tells them exactly what to do. Instead of having to go to the web page, read a bunch of information, it just presents that. Or what's the value proposition of your product, or those types of things. So a chatbot, really, I like to think in terms of when a mid-sized business starts to look at how can I leverage the new AI chat model, is literally building a chatbot for your organization, both internally and externally. So we're working on that now, obviously, with multiple organizations, and they're highly effective and really, really big return on investment because it saves time for everybody. So that's a typical application.
The thing that I saw that was amazing is one of my members was working on a new website, and they were spending a ton of time talking about what they do. But having seen some Vistage speakers talk about the real holy grail in marketing is how do you present yourself as a solution to problems that people have? So what problems does your company solve, and how do you solve them better than your competition? And it actually took all of what they do and they turned it all around by just asking, in this case, it was Bard, hey, how might I talk about this in the language of the customer? It's just amazing. Yeah, so how about benefit cost trade-offs? To actually be effective and use this is always a cost at some level, right? To be able to do anything in an organization. So how do you see the benefit cost?
Yeah, I mean, the big thing is I believe that you want to be strategic in your use of all these tools. So you're looking to have everything that you do be not just aligned with your objectives of the company, but to be integrated with the goals. So I think that it's really important to know where the business is going or where you want the business to go, and then build the tools that are driving that. And you had Eric on, I'm Eric, but also the Eric in the previous podcast talk about the 5 Ds of working with the business. And that those initial ones that he talked about, which is discovery and diagnose, are really important. So going in and seeing what the business has for data, let's say, that can be implemented into an AI and give a customer or an employee more information faster is really important. Then that allows you to design that system and then deploy it. And then really at the end, then you're monitoring it or using a dashboard to see, are we getting the results we expected? Are we getting that return? And that's the big key right at the end. So you kind of like, if you use the military term, you're doing a debrief. So your dashboard does a debrief and you can tell, are we getting the results we want? And then you just keep iterating. So it's more of a lean startup, kind of a model where you keep improving. Oh, we didn't get the results we wanted. Why is that? And analyze.
Gotcha.
So
yeah. How about challenges? It seems like it's just so wide open with so many different options. So what are the challenges of AI for the average mid-market business owner and company?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think one of the challenges is a thought process. It can seem overwhelming. Like there's so much pressure now on business processes. And if you look at, is my competitor going faster than me at this? Are they moving along it faster? So really now it's important to at least start, right? Get that design, phase going, looking at and seeing what can we do. So that's a big challenge. And then there's a few others. Security becomes an issue, but those are addressable challenges. Really, the thing is, how do you integrate it and how do you get it to get the results that you want? And when you look at return on investment, I think you need to see something in less than 2 years. Like, yeah, it's great to have a 10-year time frame, but in the beginning, I like to look at that low-hanging fruit. How can we get a less than 2-year return? And then really create differentiation with the products that are going to come out of this. I mean, that's the holy grail, right? How do we differentiate ourselves from our competitors using these technologies to improve?
Eric, as a technical person, boy, you certainly sound like you also major in process and in business to pull all these kind of things together. I'm really impressed with how you view that role is more than just a technical kind of expertise. I'm hearing all about companies, process, business, and strategic development all kind of wrapped up. Is that part of what you do?
That's an exact part of what I do. You look at the boardroom when maybe the leaders of their company are sitting down to saying, where are we going? And that's the seat that I'm in. So the CEO maybe has an IT director or something like that, but that person isn't typically concerned about 2 to 5 years from now. I'm really concerned about the future and a strategic level. Where is the company going? And I think I can bring a bigger picture to that, So
Gotcha.
yeah, that's a big focus of mine. Exactly.
Gotcha. So if somebody wants to get in touch with you, if one of our viewers here, and maybe knock it around with you a little bit and see if that you could be a help to them, how would
very easy. I've got the website. It's Eric Langley, LANGLEY.net. ericlangley.net, and there's a calendar on there. You can book a call with me. We can have a conversation. There's also resources on there. I write blog posts a lot about AI these days because it's a big deal. But there's more to, obviously, being a CIO than just AI. You have a lot of moving parts. And when I look at the types of value that I create, they really fall into like 3 primary areas. One is streamlining operations. We're all faced with soaring costs, really, in business these days, and ongoing supply chain disruption. So streamlining business processes saves money, and that's a big focus area for me. And then we've been talking about AI and building and new products and improving existing products, which is a revenue generator. So we're trying to be on the value creation side, really, with that. And then there's still this cyber threat. We've got these risks. You still read them every week in the news. A certain organization had a ransomware attack. They lost access to their data. So we do risk management to avoid adverse events, and that's a big focus as well.
Eric, thank you so much. Unfortunately, we're out of time. And to the viewers, this kind of information that Eric provides us, and Eric as a resource, is something that Vistage, we major in. And so we have literally thousands of speakers in the Vistage, we call it a speaker bureau, that we bring to our members to talk about any kind of subject. This just happens to be extremely topical, and that's why you're on today. But Eric's pretty typical of the caliber and depth of speakers that we bring to Vistage. So in terms of the Vistage model, it's one of the key legs of the stool is these 3-hour speaker workshops that we use, as well as the other parts of the Vistage model. So with that, I think, unfortunately, we're going to have to close things out. Thank you so much for your time. I've really enjoyed learning more and, of course, spending time with you, Eric. Talk to you soon.
Very good, David. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.